Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. So, how are you today? I hope you guys are doing okay. And remember, please stay at home, okay? Okay, so today we are going to study a brand new chapter. Okay, so the chapter that we are going to study right now is about nutrition. Okay, nutrition. So basically we are going to study what will happen to your food when you eat. Okay, so basically these are the example of the food that you consume every single day. So which one is your favorite? I'm sure you guys really like chicken, meat, fish, right? Okay, because I know all of you like fast food. For example, KFC, McDonald's, and so on. Okay, but some of you maybe dislike this one. Okay, why? Because this consists of vegetable and fruit. Okay, maybe fruit is okay, but for vegetable, some of you may be reluctant, okay, to eat, but it's all right. So in this topic, we are going to study in detail what will happen to all these food when we eat them. Okay. So the first one, you should know they are about. Okay, this is about class of food. Okay, kelas makanan. So class of food consists of a few things. Okay, the first one is carbohydrate, and then we have protein, fat, vitamin, mineral, fiber, and water. Okay, so all food that we eat basically will have all these things. Okay, so we go one by one. Okay, first one we go for carbohydrate. Okay, so carbohydrate consists of three elements. Okay, three elements which are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, so I repeat again. If in the exam, if they ask you, okay, what is the element in carbohydrate? So you should answer carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, so in the exam, they maybe can ask you what is the function of carbohydrate. So the function of carbohydrate is to supply a lot of energy. Okay, a lot of energy. Okay, so what is the example of carbohydrate? Okay, for example, you have rice, you have bread, you have sugar, banana, potato, and so on. Okay, so once you consume this thing, okay, that's why you have a lot of energy. Okay, so these are the example of carbohydrate. Okay, this is the example of food that contain carbohydrate. Okay, but the real example of carbohydrate are three. The first one is starch, glycogen, and the last one is cellulose. Okay, in the exam, if they ask you, please give example of carbohydrate. So these are the answer: starch, glycogen, and cellulose. But if they ask you, what is the example of food that contain carbohydrate? So these are the possible answer. Okay, the common one is rice and bread lah, because these are usually the food that we eat, right? Okay, so the example of carbohydrate are starch, glycogen, and cellulose. Okay, so we go one by one. Okay, so starch is a food stored in a plant. Okay, so for example, okay, just now it said that starch is a food contained in the plant. For example, banana and potato, right? Those things, okay, are plant, right? So inside banana, inside plant, the example of carbohydrate present in them are called starch. Dalam ni ada starch, dalam ni pun ada starch. Dalam starch ni dalam bahasa Melayu kanji. Okay, other than that, rice is also contain starch. Paddy kan, rice is from paddy. Okay. Okay, the next one. Awak tengok ni. Glycogen. Tadi starch kan. Right now, glycogen. Glycogen is a food stored in animal. Okay, specifically in muscle. and also liver. Ada dua tempat where glycogen is stored. The first one is in muscle, the second one is in the liver. And the last one is cellulose. Cellulose is a carbohydrate that forms cell wall of the plant. Okay, if you remember cell wall, right? Cell wall ni is the outermost layer of the plant cell. Dekat luar sekali. Fungsi cell wall apa? The function of cell wall is to maintain the shape of the cell. So inside the cell wall, we can find cellulose, which is one of the example of carbohydrate. Okay, that's all for carbohydrate. Next is protein. Tengok protein ni. So protein has 4 elements. Unlike carbohydrate, only 3 elements: carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. But for protein, 4 elements, which are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. If you notice, the first 3 are the same, but there is an addition for protein, which is nitrogen. So awak nak ingat macam mana ni? Kalau carbohydrate, you remember CHO, CHO, CHO. But for protein, CHON, CHON. N stand for nitrogen. Okay, so basically, protein is needed for what? For growth, and then to repair a damaged tissue, to replace that cell, and also use, okay, to synthesize hormone, enzyme, and antibody. Okay, synthesize mean produce. Synthesize ni sama maksud dengan produce. If you want to use synthesize, also okay. If you want to use produce, also okay. Okay, so how many function of protein? One, grow, for growth. Second, to repair damaged tissue. Third, to replace that cell. Fourth, synthesis or produce enzyme, hormone, and antibody. So here you see antibody any amino acid, right? This one we are going to study in detail in the next subtopic. Okay, you just KIV first. Okay. So this is the example of food that contain protein. For example, chicken, your favorite food, right? Okay, and then seafood. This is salmon, right? Who here like salmon? Egg, meat. Ni buat stick sedap ni. Okay, and we also have milk. Milk also is under protein. Okay, ni dia cakap apa ni? Milk help me to grow because it has high in a protein. Ni siapa masa kecil ni? Okay, so let's go. Okay, we done with protein. Now we go for fat. So tengok fat ni. Okay, fat. Okay, the element that contain in the fat 3 only. Okay, which are carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. CHO. CHO. Sama macam carbohydrate if you notice. Okay, that's why the function of fat is quite the same like carbohydrate, which is it gives high energy. So if you eat carbohydrate, you gain energy. If you eat fat, you also gain energy. Why? Because they have the same element. CHO, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Okay, here fat is formed from glycerol and fatty acid. Okay, this one same like amino acid for protein just now. We are going to study them in detail in the next subtopic. Okay, IV first yang ni. Okay, and then you have to know that other than give energy to us, okay, fat also will protect our organ. Okay, fat also will protect our organ such as heart and kidney. Okay, and then fat also require for transporter for vitamin A, D, E, and K. And the last one, fat function is to act as a heat insulator. Sebab apa? Most of the fat will be stored under the skin. Sebab itulah, the more fat stored under your skin, the fatter you will be. So, the fat will act as a heat insulator to regulate our body temperature. So, how many function of fat? 1, okay, to give us energy. 2, protect protect organ. Okay, and then third, transporter for vitamin A, D, and K. Okay, fourth, as a heat insulator to regulate body temperature. Okay guys, so here if you notice, okay, ada satu lagi penerangan kat sini. Each gram of fat supply 2 times total energy supply by carbohydrate. So maksudnya if you take more carbohydrate, if you take fat rather than carbohydrate. Okay guys, I'm sorry. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so I want to repeat again. Okay, here you say that each gram of fat will supply 2 times total energy supply by carbohydrate. So it means that if you take the same amount of carbohydrate and the same amount of fat, okay, basically fat will give you twice energy compared to carbohydrate. Okay, I repeat again. If you take the same amount of fat and the same amount of carbohydrate, for example, you take 1 kg carbohydrate and then you take 1 kg of fat. Basically, 1 kg of fat will give you twice energy compared to carbohydrate. But if you notice in our daily life, we rely on carbohydrate rather than fat. Why? Because consuming fat will give you a lot of disease. For example, obesity, heart disease, and so on. So that's why we rather choose carbohydrate to give us energy. Okay, the next one is vitamin. Okay, so here vitamin, okay, is an organic compound that does not supply energy, but it is needed by a body in a small quantity to maintain a good health. So you don't have to consume so many vitamin, okay? So because it need to be consumed in a small quantity. For what? To maintain a good health. Okay, so vitamin can be classified into two. The first one is water soluble vitamin. Okay, the next one is fat soluble vitamin. Okay, water soluble vitamin means that that vitamin can dissolve in the water. Dia boleh larut dalam air. Okay, and then we have fat soluble vitamin where the vitamin can dissolve in the fat. Okay, so the example for water soluble vitamin is okay, A, vitamin B and C. Kalau fat, awak ingat adik. A, D, E, K. Tapi jangan tulis vitamin adik. Vitamin A, D, E and K. So basically, these are the source of food that you can gain any vitamin. Okay, so this is the table that show to you about where you can find vitamin A and what is the important and what you will have if you lack of them. Okay, so we go one by one. Okay, the first one is vitamin A. I'll take vitamin A. So we can find in the milk, yolk egg, kuning telur, fish and oil. So why it is important to help with night vision? Kan ada orang malam-malam silau malam-malam kan. So if you have that kind of disease, so you should consume more vitamin A. Okay, so if you lack of vitamin A, what you will have? So you will have night blindness and also skin disease. Kalau nak skin flawless, makanlah banyak vitamin A. Okay, the next one, vitamin B. Okay, you can find in yeast, liver and also egg. Liver ni hati, hati ayam ke, hati lembu ke. Okay, what is the function? To maintain the function of our nervous system. And then to formation of red blood cell. Okay, red blood cell. So apa penyakit yang awak akan dapat if you lack of vitamin B ni? Awak akan dapat beriberi. And then you have anemia. Anemia is a disease where you lack of red blood cell. Okay, vitamin C. You can find in the vegetable and fruits. Okay, and then what is important? Okay, to fight disease. And then fight disease apa ni? Nanti kita tengok balik. And then maintain the health of gums and mouth. Gum tu gusi kita, mouth. So what will happen if you lack of vitamin C? So you have scurvy. Scurvy ni is a disease where your gum is bleeding. Okay. The next one, vitamin D. You can find in butter, egg, and so many lah. So what is the function? To help in absorption of calcium. Okay, if you notice in the milk for example, okay, susu yang awak minum tu kan, mesti dia tulis calcium with the help of vitamin D.
Kalau tak percaya, cuba awak beli susu hari ni, awak tengok ada tak perkataan vitamin D kat situ. Okay, so why vitamin D is important? To help absorption of calcium. Calcium for what? To have a healthy bone and teeth. Kita punya gigi tu. So what will happen if you lack of vitamin D? You will have ricket. Ricket ni satu penyakit yang mana tulang kita rapuh, mudah patah dan sebagainya. Toothache, okay, sakit gigi, dan skin disease. Ni tengok, to maintain skin, strengthen tooth enamel. Okay. How about vitamin E? Okay, you can gain in the green vegetable. Fungsi dia untuk apa? Maintain the function of reproductive system. Okay, if you lack of vitamin E, you will have sterility and fetus miscarriage. Fetus miscarriage ni keguguran, fertility ni maksudnya akan jadi mandul lah. Okay, so those who are, have trouble to gain child, offspring or whatever, they should consume more vitamin E. And the last one, vitamin K. You can gain from milk, egg yolk, and fish oil. Why? To speed up the blood clotting. Okay, pembekuan darah. Okay, so mempercepatkan pembekuan darah. Okay, so what will happen if you lack of vitamin K? You will have prolonged bleeding. So maksudnya awak punya pendarahan tu akan lama lah, susah nak berhenti. Teacher, why vitamin K is important? For example, like, okay, when you suddenly cut your finger, for sure you will bleed lah, awak akan berdarah kan. But sooner or later you find out that the bleeding stop. Why? Because there is a vitamin K in your blood to help what? To speed up the blood clotting. Okay. Okay guys, so that's all for vitamin, and the last one is fiber. So fiber is a substance that cannot be broken down by digestive system. Okay, it consists of cellulose that found in the cell wall. Ingat fiber ni, specialnya adalah it has cellulose. Because we know that fiber is made up by vegetable and fruit. So they are plant cell. So plant cell for sure, they have cellulose, which is found in the cell wall. Okay, so fiber ni penting sebab apa? Fiber is very important to stimulate peristalsis. Okay, that is the movement caused by constriction and relaxation of muscle along the digestive tract, such as esophagus, in small intestine, and large intestine. This will make it easier for the food to move along the digestive tract and prevent constipation. Okay, so peristalsis tu adalah suatu proses where the muscle, muscle kat mana? Muscle dekat esophagus, muscle dekat small intestine, and muscle dekat large intestine tu, dia contract and relax. Okay, so I repeat again, peristalsis is the process where the muscle in this area, okay, can contract and relax. Bila dia contract relax, there is a movement of food happen. So when there is a movement of food happen, this can prevent you from having constipation. Constipation tu maksudnya sembelit lah. So that's why when you are having constipation, bila awak ada sembelit, okay, you are advised to consume more vegetable. Sebab apa? Sebab vegetable ni contain fiber that can stimulate peristalsis. Yang mana your muscle in the small intestine and large intestine will contract and relax. Bila contract and relax, kita punya najis tu akan bergerak. Pergi ke mana? Pergi ke tandas lah. Okay, boleh faham? Fruit, vegetable and grain are high in the fiber. Ni, roti yang high fiber ni. Okay, grain and so on. Okay guys, so the next one is mineral. Awak tengok mineral ni. Mineral is a non-organic substance required by the body. Okay, the mineral do not supply energy but require in a small quantity to regulate body process to maintain health. Sama juga macam vitamin tadi. We need them in a small portion. Okay, why? To maintain our health. So these are the example of mineral, calcium, sodium, iron dan sebagainya lah. Okay, so kita kisah satu ya. So calcium jumpa kat mana? Dekat milk, anchovy and so on. So why it is important? To help the blood clotting. Tapi basically calcium ni we can relate with to strengthen the bones and teeth. Ini yang paling common yang kita tahu. Okay, so if we lack of calcium, we will have ricket and osteoporosis. Okay, ricket ni macam cikgu cerita lah kan, tulang kita akan jadi rapuh. Osteoporosis ni pun sama juga. Okay, tulang kita akan jadi rapuh, mudah patah. Okay. Okay, the next one is sodium. Sodium you can find in the salt, garam tu ni salt ni. Meat and egg. Why? It is important to maintain our nervous system. Apa terjadi? You will have muscle cramp. Okay, muscle cramp. Iron, jumpa dekat liver, meat. Okay, to build hemoglobin in the blood. Blood what? Red blood cell. Kita tahu red blood cell ni ada hemoglobin. Okay. So fungsi iron ni adalah to build hemoglobin. We know that inside red blood cell, there is a hemoglobin. Apa fungsi hemoglobin? To bond with the oxygen. Okay, and then what will happen if we lack of iron? You will have anemia. Anemia ni lack of red blood cell. Kenapa lack of red blood cell? Sebab tak ada hemoglobin. Okay, and then iodine you find in the seafood and fruit. Okay, so what will happen? So it's important because to help with the function of thyroid gland. Okay, thyroid gland. Okay, apa yang kita dapat? Dia akan dapat goiter. Okay. Okay, I think the rest of this you can read on your own. Okay, so if you want to copy the note, okay, you can pause the video and then you can copy. Okay, the next one is water. Okay, so water is a compound that is very important. Okay, and water has two elements which are hydrogen and oxygen. Ingat tak water kita cakap H2O. So maksudnya inside the water it has two hydrogen and one oxygen. Okay, water act as this is the function of water. Okay, the first function of water is to act as a chemical solvent. Okay, bahan pelarut bahan kimia. Okay, and as a transportation medium. Okay, transportation medium. Sebab apa? Inside our blood there is also water. Sebab itulah kita cakap transportation medium, sebab we use blood to transfer nutrient and also oxygen in the cell. Okay, lepas tu regulate body temperature. Okay. Dah. Okay guys, so let's continue a little bit. Okay, so this is the test of the experiment that basically we should do, but since this is COVID-19, we cannot do the experiment. Okay, but if you are eager to find out detail, maybe you can find in the YouTube for this experiment. Okay, so basically there are 4 experiment that you should know. Okay, the first one is iodine test. First one iodine test, second Benedict test, third Mylan test. Okay, and then the last one alcohol emulsion test. Okay, so what is the function of all these tests? Is to test the presence of the food. Okay, if we want to test the presence of starch, we can use iodine test. Okay, so in other words, I would say iodine test ni fungsi dia adalah suatu test yang kita guna untuk menguji kehadiran kanji. Kalau Benedict test kita nak uji apa? Kita nak uji glukos. Mylan test uji protein. Kalau alkohol uji siapa? Uji fat. Okay, so kita pergi one by one, okay? So iodine test ni, okay, awak ingat dia macam ni je sebenarnya. Awak tak perlu ingat apa macam mana nak buat benda ni. You have to know what is the result. Okay, for example, if the food has starch, for example, ini iodine kan, and then you drop on the rice, for example. Kenapa rice? Sebab rice ni nasi ada starch kan. Okay, what will happen? So you can see the color change from what to what? From yellowish brown, okay, brown, okay, yellowish brown, brown yang kekuning-kuningan. Okay, from yellowish brown to dark blue. Okay, I repeat again. If we drop iodine solution on the starch or food that contains starch, the color change is from yellowish brown to the dark blue. Daripada brown ke kuning-kuningan pergi kepada biru gelap. But what happen if you drop iodine solution on, for example, on fruit, buah. Kita tahu buah tak ada starch kan? So what will happen? Okay, you would say there is no color change. Takkan ada warna yang berubah. Okay, why? Because the color will remain yellowish brown. Warna dia akan sama. Okay. Okay, the next one, Benedict test. Benedict test ni untuk uji kehadiran glukos. So, what will happen? So, basically, this is test tube. Okay, so this test tube we will mix with something that we want to know. Either they have glucose or not. Okay, so kita letak Benedict solution, kita letak solution something lah. So if there is a glucose, there will be a red bridge precipitate will produce. Maksudnya mendakan merah bata akan dihasilkan. Okay, mendakan merah bata akan dihasilkan. Okay, tapi kalau tak ada glucose apa jadi? The Benedict, okay, so boleh cakap the red bridge precipitate will not be produced. Tu je lah. Okay, boleh faham? Okay, the rest of the test, okay, I will send you a video. Okay, I will send you a video. Maybe you can watch on your own to see what will happen. Okay. Okay, the next one, the importance of balanced diet. Balanced diet. Okay, what is balanced diet? Okay, balanced diet is a diet that contain all food class in a right quantity that is required by the body. Macam tadi kita tengok. Ni, awak tengok ni. Mana dah? Ni. This is what we call balanced diet. Why? Because it consists of all food class. Kita ada karbohidrat. Ni karbohidrat ni kat bawah sekali ni. Sebab apa karbohidrat? Sebab ada roti, ni ada pasta. And then it has fiber. Sebab apa fiber? Ada buah, ada sayur. Sebab apa lagi? Sebab dia ada protein. Protein is kita ada ikan. And then we have what? We have fat. Lemak. Sebab apa ni? Ni cheese, mentega, meat and so on. Okay. So balanced diet will consist all of this in a right proportion. Okay, all food class in a right quantities. Okay, can you understand? So this is what we call food pyramid. Food pyramid, awak tengok macam bentuk piramid kan? Awak tengok macam bentuk piramid. So basically at the bottom, okay, dekat bawah ni menunjukkan this is the food that you need to consume the most. Okay, makanan yang awak kena paling banyak makan. Sebab apa? Give you energy. Okay, so bawah ni adalah karbohidrat. Yang ni apa? Vegetable. Lepas tu apa? Fish, protein. Lepas tu apa? Lepas tu adalah apa ni? Fat. Okay, dah sekali adalah fat lah. Okay, so this is what we call food pyramid. So it begin at the bottom is carbohydrate. Second one, fiber. Third one, protein. And the last one is fat. Maksudnya dia yang paling sikit kita perlukan. Yang ni paling banyak kita perlukan. Yang tengah-tengah ni medium. Tapi kalau compare yang ni dengan yang ni lagi banyak lah kita kena makan. Okay, boleh faham? The lower the food pyramid, the most that we need to consume them. Okay, the top the food pyramid, the less we should eat. Okay. Okay, the factor that influence calorific requirement. Okay, sekejap. Okay, so this is the factor that will show to you. For example, if you want to compare a body size. Okay, orang yang badan besar ke badan kecil yang memerlukan tenaga yang lebih? Okay, calorific requirement tu maksudnya kalori yang diperlukan. Why calorie? Because this calorie show how much energy is stored in the food. Okay, so kita tengok body size. A person with a large body frame need a bigger portion of food because he or she need to have more energy compared to those who have small frame. Maksudnya orang yang berbadan besar ni memerlukan lebih banyak tenaga. Nak banyak tenaga kena banyak makan. Banyak makan kena banyak makanan. Okay, how about age? So children and teenager require more carbohydrate for energy and protein for growth because they are growing and more active compared to adult. So we can say that ni child kid ataupun teenager they should have more energy, more protein compared adult. Why? Because we know that during teenager and children, they are active, they need energy for growth and so on. Okay, how about work? Farmer, labor, fishermen require more energy because they do heavy work. Orang berkebun, orang buat rumah batu dan sebagainya. They for sure they require more energy because dia kan buat kerja-kerja berat kan. So therefore their diet requirement are higher compared to those who work in the office. Sebab the office ni duduk bawah aircon je kan, tak buat kerja berat, betul tak? Okay, in terms of gender, okay, generally men are more muscular there and they do need more heavy activity. Therefore, they need bigger portion food than women. So lelaki ni kita tahulah, okay, dia aktif, dia muscular, sadolah macam awak lelaki-lelaki dalam kelas awak tu. Okay. So we can say that men require more energy than female. Okay, state of health. Okay, people who are sick are weak. So they require food suitable for their health condition. And then the last one, climate. Okay, people who live in the cool climate country lose heat quickly, okay, to the surrounding compared to the people who live in the hot climate. Therefore, they need more food to maintain their body temperature. So maksudnya orang yang kat negara sejuk ni, dia kena banyak makan. Sebab apa? Sebab dia memerlukan lebih banyak tenaga. Sebab apa? Banyak tenaga haba dibebaskan waktu sejuk. Okay, so tu. Okay guys, so the next one is calorific value of the food. Okay, so food contain basic class such as carbohydrate, protein and fat. Okay, so this is how, okay, you can count how much calorie inside your food. Okay, for example, okay, awak kena ingat formula ni. 1 kalori bersamaan dengan 4.2 joule. Joule ni is a unit for energy. Macam kalau height, ketinggian kita guna cm. Kalau berat kita guna kg. Tapi kalau tenaga, unit dia adalah joule. Okay, iaitu J huruf besar. Okay, 1 kalori makanan bersamaan dengan 4.2 joule. So contohnya kan, awak makan makanan tu mempunyai 1 kalori. Maksudnya awak akan mendapat 4.2 joule tenaga. Boleh faham? Okay, and then there is another formula, 1K. 1K is equal to, okay, sorry, 1K joule, 1K calorie is equal to 4.2 K joule. Awak tambah K je sebenarnya. Ni 1K, ni 4.2 K, ni 1, ni 4.2. So tambah K je sebenarnya. K tu stand for thousand. Ribu-ribu. Awak ingatkan kilo kan? Okay. Ini awak tengok ni sebagai contoh. Satu fried rice ni, dia ada 640 kalori. K kalori. K jal. K tu kilo. KAL tu kalori. So awak makan sepinggan je kan. So awak akan dapat 640 K joule energy. Banyak kan? Kalau banana, kalau satu 60 K joule. Kalau awak makan 2, darat 2 je lah. Dan sebagainya. Okay. Okay, the next one. Okay, yang ni awak kira sendiri nanti ya. Okay, planning a balanced diet. Okay, so okay, tengok sini lah. Okay, so importance of maintaining balanced diet. Okay, why we need to maintain a balanced diet? Because we know that you are what you eat. Okay, so apa yang awak makan itulah awak. So for example, if you take more carbohydrate, so what will you have? You will have obesity. What will happen when you eat more fat? You will have obesity. Kalau carbohydrate, you will be diabetes. Okay, so that's why it's very important to maintain our health because we want to live longer. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. So I think that's all for class today. So for the next class, we are going to study about human digestive system. Okay, so if make sure you guys write down your name and class. Okay, so please write down your name and class on the comment section for attendance. Okay, if you have anything to ask, just PM me. Okay, guys. So that's all for today. So I see you on the next class. Okay, bye bye.